Welcome into Dallas Mavericks Today. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for tuning into the show here on a Sunday. And there's some news out there that apparently there has been some discussions between the Dallas Mavericks and the Cleveland Cavaliers about a potential Collin Sexton sign and trade. Let's get you caught up on the latest from Chris Fedor of Cleveland.com. The Cavs have had conversations with Dallas about a sign and trade for Collin Sexton, but if you're talking about a sign and trade, the Cavs need something back that is going to be valuable to them. And neither the Utah Jazz nor the Dallas Mavericks have the pieces that the Cavs would want back in a sign and trade for Collin. So we've kind of heard that the Cavs don't love the Mavs' assets, but the fact that there has been conversations reportedly, maybe, just maybe, talks are ongoing and things could happen. We're going to explore this on today's show. And I say we because producer Jeff Cooperstein is going to join me on today's show.
Let's go.
We each have a trade idea cooked up that we'll get to later on. But Coop, your reaction to the fact that there could be some talk still going on between these two franchises.
So you're telling me there's a chance, Harrison
Exactly.
Graham. That's
Maybe.
all I need to know. The Mavs need a third ball handler desperately. They've needed it since Jalen Brunson departed for the New York Knicks. Now, there is the notion that the guy that's available on July 15th might be the same guy that's available on September 15th when you're going into training camp. So the Mavs still have time to figure out exactly what they want to do, but the fact that they've explored at least acquiring Collin Sexton, who is the best guard on the market still, is definitely an encouraging sign. I'm not sure they're going to get him, but it's definitely encouraging that they're kicking the tires.
Something that Fedor has consistently reported here, Coop, is that the Cavs have offered Sexton somewhere in the $13 million year range. We heard that 3-year, $40 million offer. He wants $20 million. So if I'm calling Sexton and I don't think the Cavs are going to pay me, I tell them, hey, trade me and get something for me, or I'm just going to sign the QO and walk. It's up to you guys. So I think he has more leverage than he thinks if he wants to get paid elsewhere. And quite frankly, if I'm Dallas, I would pay him $20 million a year if it means unloading money to line that up.
Yeah, I think his pushback on taking the qualifying offer would be coming off that ACL injury. Do you want to take that risk where you take the short-term deal and something happens and you'll never get the big deal again? So I can see him wanting to hold out for more money, but yeah, if I'm the Mavs, I think they're willing to pay it up front right away. And do they have maybe the assets to get the best trade package to Cleveland? No, but it's not like they have nothing to give.
Well, and there's not a market. It doesn't sound like there's a huge market for Collin Sexton. The money has dried up. So if Dallas is a team that's willing to at least get close to what he wants, even over $15 million per year, I think that's enticing if Sexton is determined to get out of Cleveland because he doesn't think that they're going to pay him enough. So I'll ask you, would you trade for Collin Sexton? I absolutely would. Type T for trade, type P for pass. Yes, he's a restricted free agent, but that might as well mean he's under contract because the Cavs have all the power. T for trade, P for pass. Would you like to go out and get Collin Sexton? We're talking about a guy that if he wasn't coming off a torn ACL, I think the notion around the league would be that Sexton is the better player than Brunson. That has been the case every year of his career until this past year, and that's only because he's gotten hurt. He's a career 20-point scorer. He can shoot the three ball. The last full season he played, he averaged over 24 points and almost 5 assists per game, Coop, as we bring you back in here. I'm not saying you're getting that, but can you get 18 to 20 with 3 or 4 assists per game? He can either start or be a six-man. I think so, and if you're getting that, maybe he's in the ballpark, if not maybe even a better player than Jalen Brunson. At worst, he's 85% of them.
Absolutely, and it's not like you're asking him to handle the majority of the ball handling duties.
No.
We obviously know that's Luka, and that'll be Spencer Dinwiddie. What Collin can do is he is a professional scorer of the basketball.
Yes.
He's going to get you 20 a game, and that's kind of what he's done. He's been a high-volume scorer his whole career. Hasn't been a great distributor, but he doesn't have to be that for the Mavs. They just need someone who can create their own shot, because right now on the team, it's Luka, it's Dinwiddie, and it's maybe Hardaway if you're throwing him in that category, but probably not relying on him on a regular basis to do that.
I mean, a Collin Sexton, Tim Hardaway backcourt. Now, maybe you'd have to trade Tim, which we'll get to our trade ideas in a minute, but that's pretty enticing if that's your bench backcourt unit. So, listen, we've been talking about it for months. Coop wants him. I want him. Collin Sexton is the ideal Jalen Brunson replacement. I think they're very similar players in a lot of ways. They're score-first guards that can distribute a bit, and they're both efficient scorers.
Yeah, look,
they're very similar.
Like I think you made a good point. Like before the playoffs, before Collin Sexton got hurt, you could easily have made the argument he was the better player.
I think most would have.
Yeah,
he's
so
had a better career.
Look, I think if you're getting a Collin Sexton to replace Jalen Brunson, that's about as best as you can do if you're the Mavericks.
And quite frankly, I'd say it's a net positive of an off season because Brunson's clearly your biggest loss. Let's say even Sexton's 85% of him. Adding Christian Wood, who can be a 20-point scorer, and JaVale McGee is a quality defensive scorer who can be an above-the-rim player, you've gotten better.
Yeah, no doubt.
And maybe Tim's back, too. Again, maybe he's in the trade, but he's an asset coming back that you didn't have in the playoffs.
Yeah, it would be a net positive. Look, they started off the offseason well acquiring Christian Wood and getting JaVale McGee, maybe a slight overpay, but still a good move that the Mavs did rather affordable, getting him for the mid-level.
Front court had to be improved.
Yeah, and so they addressed that there. And look, if they could add Sexton to this team, I think you could say that they could be a team that could go back to the Western Conference Finals again.
They're a better team on paper than last
year.
Yeah,
so I mean, it would all depend on how Collin Sexton gels with Luka and Jason Kidd in the offense, but I definitely think that if they were to acquire him, and we'll take a look at some trade ideas here in a minute, that they could end up being a better team.
Absolutely. We'll get to those trade ideas in a moment. But first, subscribe to the channel. If Dallas were to trade for Sexton or sign another guard, they're going to have to get another guard at some point. We'll make sure to have you covered with that acquisition. So go ahead and subscribe. Mavericks Today, bringing you the latest Dallas Mavericks news and rumors all offseason long and covers throughout the season once the season gets here as well. So I'll go through my trade idea first, and then we'll take a look at Coop's trade idea also. Collin Sexton to Dallas for Davis Bertans, Josh Green, Jaden Hardy, and 2 first-round picks in 25 and 27. Listen, I get it's a lot, but if Cleveland says they don't like the assets Dallas has, you may have to throw a couple of picks in there. You give them Josh Green, who's still a young, somewhat promising, potentially 3-and-D type of player down the road. Jaden Hardy, who has probably more pure raw talent than Collin Sexton. Doesn't mean he's going to get there, but a young 18, 19-year-old kid who can really score the basketball just needs to improve. And then Bertans to match the salary, obviously. A couple of firsts in there too, Coop. Your trade is similar, but if you really want Sexton, you may have to give up both those firsts if you're Dallas.
Yeah, I think the acquiring team's going to have to give up 2 firsts no matter what. And my trade idea is kind of similar to you. I also included Hardy, but I went with Hardaway instead of Bertans and Josh Green. I just think Hardaway is the best trade asset the Mavs have right now and probably has the most trade value. So I went with Hardaway, Hardy, and those 2 first-round picks. And I'm not sure it'll still be enough to get him, but that's probably, I think, what the Mavs' best offer is. Maybe if Cleveland likes a Josh Green more, you could throw him in there as well. Obviously, you're not going to, stop a deal over Josh Green.
Yeah, exactly.
The Mavs have options here to present Cleveland.
Would you trade, I think I know the answer to one of these, but I'm curious about the second one. Would you trade Dorian Finney-Smith or Reggie Bullock in a trade for Sexton? I don't think I would trade Dodo. I would trade Reggie Bullock, though, if it came down to it. It would stink. It would hurt a little bit, but you can probably go find a cheap 3-and-D guy on the market potentially. I think getting a creator over Reggie Bullock is probably worth the risk. Now, Dorian Finney-Smith, I don't think I'm trading him right now, but Bullock, if that's the difference in getting Sexton, maybe you take 1 first off the table, send Bullock. I might do that.
Yeah, I'm not giving up Dorian in a trade like this. No. Reggie, it would hurt. I'd probably shed a tear, but I think I'd do it. Reggie is so valuable to this team, and we saw
in the playoffs.
Yeah, we saw what he did in the playoffs. He had to play 40 minutes a game because the Mavs' only wing options were Dorian Finney-Smith and Reggie, and Ntilikina in spot duty. So Reggie's super valuable, but if you're getting a guy like Collin Sexton, maybe you just do it.
Yeah, I mean, in that scenario, you really need Josh Green and Ntilikina to step up this year. You would need their defense to help fill those minutes, and you'd probably have to go sign another defender as well. All right, so we've presented each of our trades. Which trade idea do you like better? Type C if you like Coops. Type H if you like mine better. Let us know in the comment section down below, and we will see how this continues to unfold. Coop, any final thoughts here as the offseason kind of slowly trickles along?
Man, get me Collin Sexton. Bring him to Dallas.
I think he'd love to play here.
I think so too. And his old coach Avery Johnson from Alabama, he lives here in Dallas.
Yep.
They can reunite, maybe get Avery back on the Mavs staff. Who knows?
Senior advisor.
Yeah. I mean, look, it would be great to get Sexton here. I think he'd be a perfect complement to Luka, and I think the Mavs would benefit greatly from him.
Would you start him or Dinwiddie if you can?
I'd start Sexton, and then you bring Dinwiddie off the bench like you did last year. Yep.
I agree with you. All right, there you have it. That's the latest on Collin Sexton to the Mavs as a possibility. We'll leave you guys on this question, and then we will sign off. 2K style, grade Collin Sexton as a player. Scale it from 1 to 10. I'll give him like a nice little 82. I think he's a solid player when he's fully healthy. Second-tier type of scorer in the NBA. Scale it 1 to 100. We'll see you next time on Mavericks Today.